That morning, Towa was folding freshly washed clothes when a loud noise came from the balcony. There, she found Shu, another angel like herself, who had crash-landed into Shintaro's apartment. Towa offered to bathe Shu since she was dirty from the fall. Later, when Shintaro arrived, Towa explained everything and asked Shu to introduce herself. The little angel did so grumpily, and then told Towa to return to heaven with her. Towa quickly calmed Shu by giving her some milk, which she loved. After 2 sips, Shu glared at Shintaro, who was amazed by the existence of tiny angels. Towa asked Shu why she was on Earth. Shu shouted that God allowed her descent because Towa had been silent for too long, and she was worried. Towa explained she was studying human behavior, and that a week away wasn't long. But Shu was upset Towa was staying in a dump with a human man, calling them perverted animals. Towa tried to calm her by explaining that Shintaro was kind and invited Shu to eat, hoping it was just hunger causing her bad mood. However, Shu freaked out more upon learning Towa cooked and washed clothes for Shintaro. Shu wants to send Shintaro to meet his maker at that moment. Towa offered her more milk, which she drank reluctantly before pulling Towa outside. Towa said Shintaro told her it was dangerous to leave the house. Shu questioned how Towa would learn about humans if she never left the apartment. Shu believed Towa was trapped and didn't know what she was doing, insisting she should return to heaven. Towa defended Shintaro, saying he was genuinely good and kind, and she believed that wholeheartedly. Shu argued it was naive to believe that in just 1 week, but Towa reminded her that Shintaro had shown care and kindness from the start, which calmed her fears about being on Earth, which made her feel she needed to repay this kindness and bring the same happiness to him. That's why she decided to stay with Shintaro. Meanwhile, Shintaro felt he would never get used to a girl saying such things about him. Shu, frustrated that nothing worked, ran out of the apartment, calling her friend Baka for wanting to stay there. Shintaro and Towa set out to find Shu. Shintaro thought angels preferred high places, which Towa confirmed, so they headed to the rooftop garden. Along the way, Towa apologized for Shu's harsh words, but Shintaro understood she said them because she cared about Towa. Soon, they reached the rooftop and found Shu sitting in the garden. Towa apologized for being self-centered and assured Shu she only came to Earth to study human behavior. She replied that Towa had done nothing wrong, and Towa offered her a hug to stop her from crying. Shintaro watched the wholesome moment, finding Shu's childlike behavior cute. While hugging, Shu's necklace started beeping, warning that it would send her back home in a minute. She took this last chance to ask if Towa really wasn't going back with her. Towa stood firm, which Shu promises to always pray for her friend's well-being. Shu acknowledged that Shintaro might not be so bad, trusting Towa's judgment, but warned him that if he ever harmed Towa, he would face her wrath. With a proof of white smoke, Shu was sent back to heaven. Towa took the opportunity to explore the rooftop garden, as she had never been there before. At the same time, Shintaro admitted that Shu's words made sense, and things needed to change if Towa wanted to learn more about humans. He suggested they go for a walk together every day after dinner. Blushing, Towa accepted the invitation, reinforcing her kind image of Shintaro. As promised, they walked around the city every evening. Shintaro taught her about traffic lights and the importance of looking both ways before crossing the street. When they returned home, Towa noticed that Shintaro always announced his arrival, even when no one else was home. He explained it was a force of habit, and Towa welcomed him warmly, making Shintaro feel a sense of cuteness in the air. They then watched TV together, and Shintaro reflected on how Towa could now go out alone. The next step would be to teach her to take the bus and train. However, imagining Towa getting lost or pursued by strange people terrified him, so he decided she wasn't ready for public transportation yet. Meanwhile, on TV, a show features fruit sandwiches. Towa can't believe such beautiful food exists. Shintaro remembers a shop nearby that sell it and invites her to try one. Towa excitedly accepts, which made Shintaro forgets about what he was worrying just now. On their way to the sweet shop, Shintaro gives Towa a train ticket for the station's turnstile, which made Towa recall seeing a train the day she arrived on Earth. Startled when the ticket is sucked into the machine, Shintaro explains it will come out on the other side. When they reach their destination, she hilariously thinks the ticket should come out again for her to take home. Hooked by the lively city, Towa runs ahead, earning a small scolding from Shintaro. She comes back and takes his hand, making him blush. At the sweet shop, Towa is glowing with excitement when she orders the foods. Shintaro is happy to see Towa eat with such satisfaction and glad that he brings her along. Their tour continues until they reach a beautiful park. Towa sees a swan boat and thinks it's a real swan. Shintaro invites Towa to ride it with him, and she excitedly accepts with a cute expression that melts Shintaro's heart. Soon, they are pedaling together. When Shintaro lets Towa pedal, he gets flustered because her skirt lifts when pedaling. Towa gets excited and accelerates the swan, flying across the lake. Meanwhile, an elderly couple finds it cute, calling them lovebirds. Embarrassed, Shintaro takes control of the pedals to get away, while Towa asks what lovebirds are. As they leave the swan, Towa sees a dango shop and pulls Shintaro towards it. He lets go of her hand on impulse and explains that holding hands is something only couples do, making Towa blush. At that moment, an irritated woman on her phone knocks Towa to the ground. She understands the woman is in a hurry, but Shintarō apologizes, feeling guilty for humans being selfish. Towa teaches him that caring for others is easier when we care for ourselves. Shintarō feels happy to have met Towa, but cuts the mood by inviting her to eat the dango she wanted. They walk to the shop together, but without holding hands.